The carbon cycle, you need to have some basic understandings of what's happening in the carbon cycle. So, respiration is one such thing that happens in the carbon cycle. And respiration produces CO2 from oxygen and a fuel, typically sugar, um, and expels CO2 into the atmosphere. I just like that sound. Photosynthesis takes the CO2 in to the plants, removes it from the atmosphere. In fact, and this might blow your mind a little bit, most of the mass of the plants, let's just think about this for a second. Do you have to re-put soil in plants? If you don't deal with your plants in your house or out in the garden, does the garden disappear when the plants are there? No. So the majority of the mass is coming from the air. So the plants are literally ripping CO2 out of the air and storing it, preventing catastrophic climate change and so on. Combustion, so fossil fuels predominantly, but also we used to, in the late, well, for hundreds of years, thousands of years, we've used wood and we've burnt wood, which has released the captured CO2 from photosynthesis back into the atmosphere, but in smallish amounts, right? You couldn't really do much other than just heat stuff up and cook, which would have reduced death rates. But then we used combustion for things like generating electricity, moving cars around. And things like wood are not necessarily very good for that, but coal is much more energy dense and is quite good for that. You've got a ton of coal versus a ton of wood, more energy comes out of the coal. And things like oil are also very useful for burning, and they release CO2 back into the atmosphere. Right? So these are critical steps, and we are responsible for some of the respiration. And there's 8 billion of us. There's more of us than there has ever been. There are less species, so maybe there's less organisms respiring, but there's definitely more of us. But combustion is the key thing that we are doing a lot of, like a huge amount, like just enough that the